Let's start off with some Big Ten superlatives, and this one's going to be very Big Ten specific, and that is a smash mouth superstar. Who fits that moniker here in the Big Ten?
I like Ben Kueter that's going to Iowa. He just looks like the kind of guy that should be fitted for a neck roll and be out there in those 1990s Big Ten games in the snow and mud. It's 9-6 the day after Thanksgiving. He's a wrestler, which is very stereotypical of an Iowa pickup as well. I think he's going to be a captain there. I think he's going to lead them in tackles. But when you talk about smash mouth, classic Big Ten football player, he's the first guy that comes to mind.
We all kind of giggled in here with the perfect for a neck roll, but that really does paint a picture about him as a prospect. Who's a diamond in the rough, non-quarterback category here coming into the Big Ten next year?
I like Jason Hewlett that's going to Michigan. He did play some quarterback. That's what we liked about him. He's a versatile athlete, returned punts, returned kicks, played wide receiver, but really comes downhill and hits on defense. And I think that's where he's going to end up. But when you're 6'4", 220 pounds, and can play all of those positions, Michigan's done a really good job of finding homes for those guys. Like Michael Barrett, I think that's what he's going to end up being. But he's big enough that he can project to a number of other places, and it doesn't take very long in this film, as you can see, to find out what kind of hitter he is. So he's committed to Cincinnati for a while. He's from the Youngstown area, wasn't super heavily recruited, but I think Michigan did a smart thing by coming in late and picking him up.
All right, Allen, I want to know who we'll be watching next season. Who's your instant impact prospect?
Well, that's always a combination of both talent and opportunity, and I think Darius Taylor at Minnesota fits that mold. They're going to lose Mo Ibrahim at running back. They do have some players coming back, as well as transfer Sean Tyler, but I think Darius is too talented and ready to keep off of the field. Steve mentioned how outstanding he was as a senior. He's a wrestler himself, actually, which you don't always see at the running back position. So I think he's physically ready. I think he played extremely well as a senior, very polished. He's going to be ready as far as being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he'll do well in pass protection. So between that and the fact that Minnesota can use somebody to come in and help out and take some carries in the backfield, I think Darius Taylor will be out there for the Gophers next year as a true freshman.
All right, Allen, call your shot here. Who is the prospect that will be the first quarterback to see the field in the Big Ten next season?
You know what? I'm going to say, I don't know if it'll be next season, but I think Sam Leavitt will have a chance to play early in his career at Michigan State. I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit. When I looked at the other top quarterbacks that are signing in the league, a lot of them had other players in front of them in the room or stacked quarterback rooms. With Sam, Caton Hauser is there, and he was a former top recruit. But the first quarterback that Mel Tucker signed at Michigan State, Ham Fay, he's now a tight end. So I think Sam will have a chance to compete with Caton. And I think even if there's an injury or something else that happens, Sam could quickly be the guy. He had a really outstanding senior season, so I think he's going to also be ready in terms of his polish.
All right, who is your fits the mold class? This is a class that kind of best embodies what the school is trying to accomplish.
Nebraska, I think it was mentioned on the show earlier, Matt Rule has types. He likes traitsy athletes. He likes track guys. He likes multi-positional guys with length and athleticism, and there's a class full of these guys. Even some of them that aren't on this list, like they took a kid named Jaden Lloyd out of the state who was an outstanding track athlete. They flipped a kid from North Dakota who was an outstanding thrower. So I think late in the process, he really did identify the kind of athletes that I was told coming into Nebraska that Matt Rule would recruit, and he started to do that immediately once he took the job.
All right, finally, who is your sleeper class in the Big Ten?
I go with Purdue. They're not very high in the actual rankings, but I think when you look at the quality of some of the players in that class, they're outstanding. They picked up a defensive tackle in Jamarian Harkless, who is committed to Auburn. Steve mentioned that we're extremely high on Armand Branch, a guy they found late in the process. If they can keep George Burhen, a guy who I think has next level potential in the class today, I think you look top to bottom at that class, and there's some real quality. That's one where maybe the ranking doesn't quite reflect some of the individual talent that we see in that group.